My name is Melky Jean. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, to Haitian parents. My father is from Akaye, and my mother is from Bouquet. When we were coming up, I was actually the youngest of 4 siblings, and I was the only girl. So very early on, I had to learn how to fight. And one of the reasons I had to learn how to fight was because I was Haitian. And when I was coming up, Haitians were getting beat up. If they knew you were Haitian, you were going to have to fight. When I was born, my older brothers were actually in Haiti, and my brother, who I call Nell, who the world knows as Wyclef, and my brother Sam, who is now an attorney, they were in Haiti, and my family had to go back to Haiti and get them. So because I was born in the United States, the laws were a little bit different in the 80s. My father came first, and he used to run away from immigration because his paperwork wasn't right. And he said as soon as his paperwork would be okay, he would go back and get his wife. So he sent for Mommy, and that's when they had me and Sadek. And then they went back and got the boys. So he had a plan. My father had a plan, and his plan was to leave Haiti and to start a new life for his family in the United States. He was very specific about the fact that he always had to run while he was here. He had to run from immigration. Sometimes they would come and knock at the door, and everybody would just kind of psh and run out of there. And he used to tell us a story. We used to laugh. You know, just kind of being born and raised here, you know, you kind of take those things for granted. So until you go to Haiti. My father was a pastor. So it's so funny because there's something about being in church that made everything seem okay. You know, were we not, you know, monetarily rich growing up? Absolutely. But we were rich in a different way. You know, I had mom and dad in the house, you know, and we had music, and we had the church, and we had the spirit, you know. So I had really fond memories of my childhood. My father was a reverend, and my mother was a singer. And I remember one of my fondest memories was we were living in Marlboro Projects, and my parents bought us a Muppet drum set and guitar set, and I remember just, you know, being around the house, you know, and then eventually, you know, we went from banging on the Muppets drum sets to actually banging on real drums and really singing. And my mother was a singer, and from the time I was about 2 years old, I just had this really big voice, you know, and I was constantly singing. I think I could sing before I could talk, you know, and we became the church band. I remember being 5 years old and directing the choir. Music was a big, big, big part of our lives. Growing up, I always knew that I was put on this earth to be in show business. When I'm on stage and I'm singing, that's when I express myself. When I'm home and I'm writing as an artist, that's when I express myself. Wyclef Jean, he is the oldest out of all of us. He's more like daddy. Anytime Mommy showed me that picture, or anytime I saw it, she said, you know, that's the day that, you know, we went to get your brothers. You know, and that's my memory of it. I was too young. I was 8 months old. I couldn't even walk. But I'm sure glad we went and got him. For a while, the only thing I knew of Haiti was the stories that they told me. And if you were a Haitian American growing up, the stories you hear from Haiti, you're like scared. Yeah. I went back, I finally went back to Haiti, and I went back in 2006. That was the first time I went to Haiti. And my life changed. I went to Haiti, and I went to Haiti as part of Clef's crew, part of the band, and he was calling me out, as he usually does, and gives me a platform to perform at some of his performances. And he said, I want to bring out the young woman who made all of this possible, because she was born in the United States. You know, my parents came back and got me. And I was so scared. I was backstage in my traditional high heel shoes, about to walk out for 100,000 Haitian people who had never seen me, except on television. And before I came out, anyone who got on stage was kind of like jumped on, hugged. You know, one guy jumped on Clef, wrapped his arms and legs around him. And I remember when I was coming out, I was a little bit like, scared. You know, almost having a panic attack. This is my first time in Haiti. And I remember I took my shoes off, and I pity-patted to the front of the runway, and I had no shoes on my feet, and all I could feel were about 100 hands just touching my feet, and I felt so calm, and I felt at home at that moment, and I felt like this was the place that I was supposed to be. And it's so funny because when I think of that moment, I think about this Yankee or this Haitian American girl who found her soul in Haiti. One of the times that I went to Haiti, the only thing that I could do to kind of purge myself, because I felt a lot of guilt, because I felt like there was so much more that I could do to help Haiti, and start writing. So as we're going through the country, I'm just kind of like looking around, and I'm writing what I feel, and I'm writing what I see. When I go back and I read that passage and some of the passages I shared with my mom, you know, it brings tears to my eyes, but then at the same time, I feel like as long as I'm alive and as long as I'm kicking, that there's always more that I can do. A lot of times you go, hey, it's too much. As long as you're doing something, you know, it'll never be too much. Haiti has a way of enchanting you. And as soon as I landed, I became enchanted because the place is so beautiful, driving through the country and just seeing this beautiful green water. And for miles you see that, and then you get to another part of the country, and for miles and miles and miles you see debris. Debris. And I remember being fascinated because I saw kids playing in the debris. This particular time that I went into a village where a slew of children had passed away because of the hurricanes. And I remember seeing this girl in her shanty home, and she was behind the bars. And I looked at her, and she looked a lot like me. And that was another interesting thing about going to Haiti. Watching MTV, watching BET, just watching television. It wasn't too many, like, you know, women who looked like me. The story of Haiti is a story that needs to be told in the United States. Little black girls, little white girls, Latino, Asian, all people need to hear the story of Haiti. I remember picking up the phone and, you know, talking to Andre Berto, who was also another Haitian American, and saying, you know, I'm doing Karma Foundation. I would love for you to be a part of this. And right away, he got it. Came to Haiti with me right away, first time. Started Karma Foundation because not just because I'm Haitian, but because I'm American. I like to tell women in general, Kembe Prestige, know your worth, know who you are. Like for me, I had to go to Haiti, and I had to see these women. I remember driving through a village, I think it was Cabaret, and I remember seeing these women who had lost everything. But guess what? If they had 3 or 4 kids, they had the kids right behind them. They were doing laundry. They were taking a bath in the stream, which no one should have been taking a bath in, but that's what they had. And one thing that I learned is that as a woman, we know how to make a way. Whether you're in Haiti, whether you're in Brooklyn, whether you're in Miami, at the end of the day, we are all the same. We need to feed our children. Even if the guy walks out, even if the father is not there, it's up to us. It is our responsibility to Kembe Prestige and pass it on to our kids. You know, so that's what I learned, and that's how I like to say I found my soul in Haiti.